All right, so we are back and ready to dive into some really cool stuff today.
Definitely.
We're going to be talking about the Brooklyn Fantasy Basketball Association.
The BFBA.
That's right, the BFBA.
Love it.
So, you know, if you're not familiar with fantasy basketball,
Yeah.
basically you're acting as the GM.
Mm-hmm.
You draft your players from the NBA, and then every week, your players' real-life stats translate into fantasy points, and that's how the competition goes.
Absolutely.
And we have some really great sources for this episode. We have articles, we have podcasts, we have some like sort of insider information on what's going on in the league.
I like it.
And it's really heating up. We're in week 11 now.
Wow.
Almost to the halfway point of the season.
Oh, yeah.
And there's even some rumblings of legal trouble that's brewing in the league, so we'll have to dig into that a little bit. But one of the other things that really stood out to me was the BFBA podcast is getting some incredible press.
Oh, wow.
They're getting shout outs from like ESP, ABC Sports,
really?
CBS Sports. They're saying that the podcast is really changing the game in terms of how fantasy leagues are covered.
Yeah.
And there are even some big names like Gilbert Arenas and Kid Moreau who are really praising the BFBA podcast for its insightful analysis and just the compelling way that they tell the story of the league.
Yeah, that's really cool. I think that's so interesting. You know, it's one thing to just look at the numbers and the stats, but to really like dive into the human element of fantasy sports.
Yeah.
I think that is like what really sets us apart.
Cool.
So that's awesome.
And speaking of human element, we have to talk about Randy.
Oh, yeah.
The owner of BFBA Mob.
Okay.
Because he is currently sitting at the #1 spot in the league for the 3rd week in a row.
Really?
And this is his 3rd Team of the Week title this season.
So Randy is the man right now.
He is killing it.
Wow. He's on a roll.
He is on a roll.
That is so impressive, especially, you know, week after week.
Yeah.
To be able to maintain that level of consistency.
Yeah.
That's not easy to do.
What do you think is going on there?
Well, I think...
Is there some secret sauce?
I don't know if it's a secret sauce, but I definitely think he has a strategy.
Okay.
You know, you just don't accidentally score that high every single week.
Yeah.
You know, there's got to be some thought, some planning behind it.
So what could that be?
Well, we can't know for sure, but we can speculate a little bit.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Like maybe he's really good at identifying players who are undervalued by other owners.
Oh.
You know, he's finding these hidden gems.
Okay.
Maybe he's really focusing on certain stats that are particularly valuable.
Yeah.
In the BFBA scoring system.
Okay.
Or maybe he's just an absolute master of the waiver wire.
Okay, so he's like constantly picking up free agents and...
Yeah, he's working the system.
Working the system.
Almost hustling.
So it's like he's got this really deep understanding of player value.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
Absolutely. I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's fascinating to see someone really like dominate like that.
Well, and the other owners have to be looking at him like,
oh, yeah.
What is he doing? How is he?
For sure, they've got to be trying to figure out like what his secret is.
Yeah.
So they can try to, you know, maybe replicate it or find a way to beat him.
Yeah.
It's like a chess match. You know, everyone's trying to outmaneuver each other.
Totally. Well, and we're in week 11 now.
Yeah.
Like we said, getting close to the halfway point of the season.
Yeah.
And only the top 8 teams make the playoffs.
Right.
So
big stakes.
Yeah. So the race is heating up.
It is.
So right now, BFBA Mob, Randy's team, and Brooklyn Vikings Valhalla, owned by Donald, are tied for the lead with an 8-2 record.
Wow, neck and neck.
Neck and neck.
It's going to be a battle.
So that is a really tight race right at the top.
For sure.
But then there are a bunch of teams that are vying for those last playoff spots.
Like every win, every loss is going to matter.
Totally. And we have some really interesting matchups coming up.
Okay.
So in week 10, Randy actually crushed Sham Gods.
Oh, wow.
1708.4 to 1412.4.
That is a beatdown.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
That was a statement.
Yeah.
Win.
He's sending a message to the rest of the league like, I'm here to win.
Yeah.
Don't mess with me.
And then we also had a nail biter.
Oh.
Between Jose's Shakes and Bake 2.0 and Donald's Brooklyn Vikings Valhalla.
Okay.
Donald pulled out a very narrow victory 1530.8 to 1513.0.
Oh, man, every point counts.
Every point counts.
You know, in those close matchups, like that, every little decision you make can make the difference.
Totally. And, you know, we're looking at the Week 11 scores now, and they're not final yet. But there are definitely some interesting things developing.
Okay.
So we'll have to see how those turn out.
Right.
You know, it's clear that this is a highly competitive league.
Yes.
And, you know, anything can happen.
Yeah, that's what makes it so exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
You just never know who's going to come out on top.
Yeah, and I think what's really interesting is you can really see the different strategies that the owners are employing.
Right. Yeah, everyone's got their own approach,
exactly,
their own style.
Yeah. And some are working better than others.
Well, that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
You know, we see someone like Randy who's clearly found a formula that's working for him.
Yeah.
But then you have other owners who are maybe still experimenting.
Yeah.
You know, trying to figure out what works best for them.
Totally.
So it's really interesting to see how those strategies play out over the course of the season.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder, like, if you were an owner in the BFBA, what would your approach be?
Oh, man, that's a great question.
Yeah.
I have to really think about that.
Yeah.
You know, do you go for the high-risk, high-reward plays?
Yeah.
Do you try to build a really balanced team?
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's so many different ways to approach it.
Totally.
And I think that's part of what makes fantasy basketball so much fun.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just about the players. It's about the decisions you make as an owner.
It's about the strategy.
Yeah.
It's like you're the coach. You're the general manager.
Exactly. You're calling these shots.
Yeah.
And the results are in your hands.
Totally. So, this is going to be a really exciting season.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to see how it all unfolds.
Yeah. We had a lot more to dive into, so stay tuned.
Definitely.
We'll be right back.
All right.
So we were talking about some pretty intense matchups that could really change how the rest of the season goes. But before we get too deep into that, I wanted to go back to something we mentioned earlier.
Okay.
That whole legal situation.
Right. The
What's going on there?
Yeah, the legal trouble that's brewing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our sources are being kind of tight-lipped.
Yeah, they're keeping it under wraps.
Yeah, so we don't know exactly what's going on.
Right. But we can speculate a little bit.
Yeah, let's speculate.
All
right. So what kind of things happen in fantasy leagues that could lead to, like, lawyers getting involved?
Okay, so you're talking, like, serious stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, you could have some shady trades going on.
Okay.
You know, maybe some collusion between owners.
Okay.
Even something as simple as a disagreement over the league rules.
Okay.
Or how fines are handled. That can get messy.
Yeah, especially when you have a league full of lawyers.
Oh, yeah. Then you're really talking.
Oh, yeah.
Some serious legal battles.
Yeah, like how much trash talk is going on in that league chat?
Oh, man. I can only imagine.
I know, right?
It's probably like legal jargon flying back and forth.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, this whole legal situation is a wild card.
It is.
Right? Like, it could have some serious consequences for the league.
Absolutely.
Like suspensions, fines, maybe even changes to the league structure.
Right. It could really shake things up.
Okay, well, let's get back to those games.
Right.
We were talking about Felton's South Korea Seoul Brothers going up against Sham Gods.
Yeah.
And if we look at the scores for Week 11, Felton's leading with 808.5 points, while Sham Gods are trailing with 732.
Right.
But those are just partial scores.
Right.
Things could definitely change.
Yeah, it's still early in the week.
But even at this stage, I think it's interesting to look at Felton's strategy.
Okay.
Like, he's not afraid to take risks.
Okay.
You know, he's picking up players that other owners might overlook.
Yeah, he's looking for those sleepers.
Yeah.
Those hidden gems.
Yeah, and sometimes those gambles pay off big time.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's like finding that undrafted rookie who ends up becoming a superstar.
Exactly.
That's got to be so satisfying.
Oh, it's the best feeling.
As an owner, to, like, discover that diamond in the rough.
Absolutely.
So I think that's what makes Felton such a dangerous opponent.
Yeah, he's unpredictable.
You never know what he's going to do.
Exactly.
Okay, now for the big one.
Yeah.
Randy's BFBA Mob versus Beaufort Bombers.
Okay.
This is the match everyone is watching.
Sure.
Can anyone stop Randy's winning streak?
Right.
Right now, Randy's holding a slight edge.
Okay.
He's got 853.8 points.
All right.
Beaufort Bombers are close behind at 838.1.
Oh, so it's tight.
It's a close one.
Okay.
And you mentioned that Beaufort Bombers are known for their bold moves.
Right.
Are we seeing any of that?
I think so.
In this game?
Yeah. If you look at their lineup, they're going with a high-risk, high-reward approach. A lot of players who can put up big numbers.
Yeah.
But they can also be inconsistent.
So they're like boom or bust.
Exactly.
So if those players have a hot week, Beaufort Bombers could pull off the upset.
Right. They could definitely take down Randy.
But if those players go cold, Randy's consistency might just be too much to overcome.
Right. He just grinds out those wins.
Yeah, it's going to be so interesting to see how this plays out.
I know. I'm on the edge of my seat.
Me too.
This is what fantasy basketball is all about.
Yeah.
You know, the strategy, the risk, the excitement.
Yeah, and it's not just about the numbers either.
Right.
Right? We've got the personalities of the owners.
Yeah.
The rivalries.
The trash talk.
The trash talk.
Yeah.
And now this legal drama unfolding in the background.
It's like a whole soap opera.
Like a reality show.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I know.
You couldn't script this stuff.
Okay, so while those two matchups are getting a lot of attention, let's not forget about the other teams. Right.
That are battling for those playoff spots.
Absolutely. Every game matters.
Yeah.
At this point in the season.
So Cedric's NY mindset of fighters.
Okay.
They're in a tight race for a playoff spot.
Yeah.
They're facing Travis's DC Hustlers this week.
Okay.
Cedric really needs this win.
Yeah, he's got to get this one.
To stay in contention.
Yeah, to solidify his position.
Yeah. And then you've got Holly's Brooklyn Stoop Kids going head-to-head with Donald's Brooklyn Vikings Valhalla.
Oh, wow. That's a big one.
This is a battle of the Titans.
Yeah. Two of the top teams in the league.
Two of the most consistent teams.
For sure.
I have no idea who's going to win this one.
Yeah, it's a toss-up.
It's really anyone's game.
Yeah, that's what makes it so exciting.
We're also keeping an eye on Malcolm's Nether Chosen Warriors.
Right?
Who are still looking for their first win.
Oh, man.
They're going against Kyle's Trader Danny.
Okay.
And while it's a long shot, a win here.
It would be huge for Malcolm.
Will be huge for Malcolm.
Yeah.
But Kyle
is also trying to secure his own playoff spot.
Right. He's got his own agenda.
So he's not going to make it easy.
No, he's going to be fighting for every point.
So every team has something to play for.
Absolutely.
And the standings could change drastically these next few weeks.
Buckle up.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild ride.
I'm ready for it.
So we've talked a lot about the scores,
the
matchups, the potential upsets.
Right.
But I wanted to shift gears a little bit and talk about the BFBA podcast itself.
Oh, yeah.
Which is getting so much attention.
Right. It's blowing up.
Yeah. Like, what do you think is making it so popular?
Well, I think it's a couple of things.
Okay.
First of all, the analysis is really insightful.
Okay.
Like they really break down the game and the strategies.
Yeah.
But they also do a great job of telling the stories of the owners in the league.
Yeah, they're capturing those personalities.
Exactly. And that human element.
And all the drama.
Yeah, all the drama. It's like they're giving you a behind-the-scenes look at this whole world.
It's like a reality show.
Yeah, but with fantasy basketball.
I know, right?
Which is somehow even more intense.
So what are some of the key takeaways from the BFBA podcast that we can apply to our own understanding of the league?
Well, I think one of the biggest takeaways is that fantasy basketball is not just about luck.
Okay.
There's a real skill involved.
Okay.
You know, you have to know the game. You have to do your research.
Okay.
You have to make smart decisions.
So it's more than just picking your favorite players.
Oh, yeah. Way more.
Yeah.
There's a lot of strategy involved.
And I think another important lesson is the importance of adaptability.
Right.
Things change throughout the season.
Okay.
Players get injured.
Yeah.
The landscape shifts.
You got to be able to adjust.
So the owners who can adapt are the ones who are going to succeed.
Exactly.
And let's not forget about the human element.
Oh, yeah.
Right? These owners are passionate. They have rivalries. They trash talk.
They get competitive.
It's all part of the fun.
It is.
And it adds another layer of complexity to the game.
It's not just about the numbers.
Yeah.
It's about the people and the stories.
So for our listeners out there,
yeah,
the key takeaway here is that fantasy basketball is more than just a game.
It is.
It's a microcosm of the real NBA.
Right.
But with this added layer of personal strategy, competition,
and drama.
And drama.
Yeah, you can't forget the drama.
So we've talked about strategy and adaptability and all the drama and, you know, the human element.
Right.
But what makes some owners just consistently successful?
Yeah. Is there like a magic formula for winning in the BFBA?
Yeah. Like, how do they do it?
Well, I don't have a magic formula, unfortunately.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'd be a champion myself.
Right. Right.
But I do think there are some common threads that we can identify.
Okay, so what are some of the key ingredients?
Well, we've talked about strategy adaptability, but I think it goes beyond that.
Okay.
The really successful owners, I think they have like this deep understanding of the game itself.
Okay.
They don't just look at the big names, you know. They understand player roles, matchups, how different stats translate to fantasy points.
So it's like they're scouts. Yeah.
They're looking for those undervalued players.
Sleepers.
Yeah.
So they're doing a lot of research.
Oh, yeah. Tons of research.
Reading articles, listening to podcasts.
Absolutely. They're staying up to date.
Analyzing data.
Yeah. It's not just gut feeling.
Yeah.
It's informed decision making.
And they're probably spending a lot of time on the waiver wire.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
That's their playground.
Yeah. Like looking for those hidden gems.
Those breakout candidates.
They're not afraid to make moves.
Nope. They're constantly tweaking their rosters.
So they're like day traders.
Yeah, kind of.
But with basketball players.
Exactly. High risk, high reward.
Okay. So strategic thinking, research, calculated risks. But what about the mental game?
Right.
Because the BFBA seems pretty intense.
It is. There's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. How do they handle it?
Well, I think it comes down to confidence and composure.
So they believe in their process.
Yes, they trust their instincts.
And they don't let the trash talk get to them.
Nope, they stay focused.
Like a Zen master.
Yeah, kind of.
Just staying in the moment.
Exactly. Not letting emotions cloud their judgment.
This has been amazing.
I'm glad you're enjoying it.
I feel like I've gotten a crash course in fantasy basketball strategy.
Well, that's the goal.
So for our listeners out there, I hope this has sparked your curiosity about fantasy basketball.
It's a really fun way to engage with the game.
Whether you're a veteran or a newbie.
Absolutely.
There's something really exciting about building your own team.
For sure.
Making those decisions.
Yeah.
And then experiencing the thrill of victory alongside the agony of defeat.
It's all part of the journey.
As the BFBA season continues, I encourage you to follow along.
Absolutely.
Not just for the scores and the standings, but for the stories.
The rivalries, the upsets, the drama.
Yeah, it's all part of what makes this league so captivating.
For sure.
So keep an eye on those playoff races.
Yes.
Those waiver wire moves.
Definitely.
And maybe even try your hand at fantasy basketball yourself.
You might just get hooked.
You never know.
That's right.
It's not just about luck. It's about strategy adaptability and a little bit of that BFBA swagger.
You got to have the swagger.
Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.
It's been a pleasure.